Yeah, so I've spent 15 years in Northern Ireland. I came over from Manchester to do my PhD, which was in ecology, and very happy to have got that PhD right outside where we are now, and now working as a consultant ecologist. And so I guess I have some experience of some of the environmental issues that are happening in Northern Ireland and that we're concerned about. And as it's been said, I'm a member of Baha'i faith, which is the most recent world religion. So what are some of the issues? I'm just going to go through these sort of fairly quickly because I think they're probably quite obvious and much about them already. But obviously a big one and is quite in the news recently is about Lough Neagh and the pollution issues across the country, and what that's caused by is amongst other things, agricultural runoff and sewage and slurry mismanagement. Obviously, there's other factors as well, like invasive species and mismanagement of the government. Biodiversity loss caused by habitat loss, degradation and fragmentation, loss of native species. So, for example, 6,000 years ago, the native forest cover in Northern Ireland was about 80%, and now it's down to less than 0.5%. So you can see a massive reduction of our forest cover, and that's all been obviously converted mostly to pasture, and it's sprayed and within an inch of its life, and causing all these agricultural problems that are running off into Lough Neagh. So it's all connected. And then, for example, our peatlands, over 80% of them have been degraded. And then the introduction of invasive species as well. And that was partly my PhD was looking at invasive deer species as well. But they're all over the world, not just in Northern Ireland. And then obviously over-exploitation of these natural environments. Then climate change, the big one there as well, with implications for flooding, water quality, food security. There's a lot more to it. I'm not going to get too much into it, but obviously that's a big one for our society now. And then obviously governance as well. It's also a political issue, and we've not had a functioning government for a number of years here, and that's obviously led to delays in getting problems sorted out. And there's also weak enforcement of environmental regulations, so not much is being really done to stop all those issues. So it's not just environmental problems that we see. These are global issues that are happening across the world, and it's not just environmental. It's also economic issues, social issues, political insecurity. So it's across the board. It's not just environmental. So we generally know that science, what science is saying about these issues, and there's a lot of people working on them around the world. But what is religion and faith background saying? Because science and religion, the Baha'i faith teaches, are two complementary sources of knowledge. They're like two wings of one bird. You can't just have one, otherwise the bird can't fly. So they need to work together. So it turns out that the major world religions all teach something about having a regard for the environment. So we're just going to go through some of those. I'm just going to quickly sort of go through some of them. So Buddhism, the Dalai Lama says, because we all share this planet Earth, we have to learn to live in harmony and peace with each other and with nature. This is not just a dream, but a necessity. And it is our collective and individual responsibility to preserve and tend to the environment in which we all live. And in Hindu scripture, it says, one who sees the Supreme Lord in all living entities and treats every being as part of God never harms others or nature. In Judaism, when God created Adam, he showed him all the trees of the Garden of Eden and said, see my works, how beautiful and praiseworthy they are. Everything I have created, I created for you. Be careful not to spoil or destroy my world, for if you do, there will be no one to repair it after you. And in Christianity, the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. In Islam, it talks about the balance and establishing weight and justice, and do not make deficient the balance. Clear about having this balance of ethics and action. And in the Baha'i faith, it talks about that God, nature is God's will and its expression in and through the contingent world. So the Baha'i faith sees the environment as an organic whole, which includes the physical, spiritual, and social aspects of life. Environmental degradation is a symptom of deeper moral and spiritual problems. So I think if you look at all the world's problems, they essentially come down to a lack of spiritual principles: kindness, consideration, cooperation, generosity, justice, service to others. And when these are abandoned, we have greed, exploitation, injustice, disunity, corruption, and conflict. So if you take any of the problems we've talked about, or any other problems, you really analyze it, I think that the root cause of all of these things is a disregard of spiritual principles. So what is the remedy to these problems? And that's something that obviously everybody's trying to tackle and try to understand. So Baha'u'llah, who is the founder of the Baha'i faith, says, "The well-being of mankind, its peace and security, are unattainable unless and until its unity is firmly established." So what kind of unity is this? It's not just a political or a social unity. Baha'u'llah affirms that until the essential oneness of mankind is realized, we'll not be able to solve our problems. And it's really the only lasting remedy to the deep spiritual and moral issues of our time. So we are an interconnected humanity. In fact, so much these days that we're really, interdependent on each other completely, from the clothes you wear to the food you eat to the phone in your pocket. Everything is created in different places around the world. So just take example for like your phones, for example, the lithium batteries. That those are almost certainly been made by cobalt mined in Congo, and that was probably mined by slaves. So slavery is not a thing of the past. It's a modern day problem, and it's happening around the world. And so it's another example of exploitation of the environment and of people as well. These two are integrally linked. So what does this unity look like? A sustainable social order is distinguished, among other things, by an ethic of reciprocity and balance at all levels of human organization. A good analogy is the human body. So obviously we have billions of cells all collaborating together to make human life possible. And the incredible diversity of their form and function connects them in a lifelong process of giving and receiving. And this represents like the highest expression of unity in diversity. So it gets a bit meaty here, but bear with me. So within such an order, the concept of justice is embodied in the recognition that the interests of the individual and of the wider community are inextricably linked. The pursuit of justice within the frame of unity in diversity provides a guide for collective deliberation and decision-making, and offers a means by which unified thought and action can be achieved. Ultimately, the transformation required to shift towards sustainable consumption and production will entail no less than an organic change in the structure of society itself, so as to reflect fully the interdependence of the entire social body, as well as the interconnectedness with the natural world that sustains it. So our consumption of energy, technology, think about those lithium batteries, of fashion, practice of just buying clothes endlessly, and those are probably made somewhere in some sweatshops across another part of the world. If you think about the manufacture of food and the destruction of natural ecosystems around the world, these are totally unsustainable, as John was saying before. And these are really harmful practices, not only socially, but also ethically, spiritually, and of course, environmentally. And it's all too easy to forget these problems. They just surround us every day. We don't have to necessarily think of them, but obviously they implicate all of us. And it's only really when you come to talk like this and you're sort of reminded about them on a day when we're trying to think about some of the solutions. So I just want to sort of draw your attention to this sentence here about the transformation required to shift towards sustainable consumption and production will entail no less than an organic change in the structure of society itself. It's a really profound sentence. It requires a total shift in how we operate as a humanity. And all the environmental solutions, and solutions for other problems as well, depend on social justice and peace worldwide. So who is going to carry out this transformation? Well, it's up to you guys, the role of youth, it's us. So the present condition of the world, its economic instability, social dissensions, political dissatisfaction, and international distrust should awaken the youth from their slumber and make them inquire what the future is going to bring. They should open their eyes to the existing conditions, then with a concerted effort, arise and bring about the necessary reforms that shall contain within their scope the spiritual as well as social and political phases of human life. So guys, it's down to you. Well, me as well, because I'm quite young, but all of us. And you're the next generation. So it's up to us to create the transformation in the world that we want to see, and that the world so desperately demands. And as the title of this day is our voices matter. You know, it's you guys that are going to be doing this, and we need to use our voices for environmental advocacy and to do what is right. But at the same time, it's about building unity and peace within our local communities. So my last slide. What will your contribution be? I'm going to leave it there, and you guys can think about this over the next few hours, days, weeks, and even years going ahead. Obviously, you guys are at the sort of start of your lives and your professional careers, and it'll be up to you to think about how you're going to use your life, really. What are you going to use it for? How are you going to have a positive impact on the world and in your local communities? So, I'll leave it there, and hopefully we can have a really constructive discussion about some of the solutions and what we can all do. So thanks very much.